Yo, what up? It's Razor Pop lah!
In Singapore to stage a solo concert, British pop star Mika is known for his quirky musical style. What is his own take on music like his and Lady Gaga's? Weird or original?
Weird is, I think, it depends. I mean, you could be seen weird in one country and totally fine in another. I mean, so weird is a hard thing to kind of use as a description. I think that definitely there's a turn towards more unique and artist-based pop music. I think that's because the record companies are falling apart and because the industry is changing. I think the record companies it's fair to say the record companies are adapting more than they're falling apart. But in the 90s, the reason why I say that is because in the 90s, a lot of pop music it became a dirty word. It was driven by people in offices to start choosing the songwriters, choosing all the different pieces of the puzzle, and then finding a singer to be the puppet. And that was what pop music was. As record sales kind of plummeted and the control got taken away from the record companies, suddenly everyone's looking for more artist-driven pop music. And that's when it becomes a lot more interesting. Pop is not a dirty word anymore. If anything, it's almost cultural, which heaven forgive, because we always know that as soon as pop becomes cultural, it becomes shit. So let's wait for that period to be over.
He may be seen as flamboyant, but Mika is seldom photographed by the paparazzi. How does he keep his private life away from the limelight?
Because I'm like a hermit, and I hide, and I hide, and I tour. From the beginning of my first record, I managed to avoid a lot of the press in the UK, a lot of whom were bribing people that I knew and calling up and waiting outside the house and stuff like that. But I managed to avoid it simply by touring. I tour. My career is a weird one. It is one that is very much divided in many different places around the world, in a way that very few artists who make quirky pop music. I make quirky pop music. I'm fully aware of that. Whether my records sell 1 million copies or 4 million copies, I still know that they're quirky records. And so I'm in quite a lucky place. Now, at that level, it's quite amazing to me that I can tour in every country around the world. But unfortunately, at the same time, there's a downside, which means I have to tour in every country around the world, because that's how I sustain my career. It's divided in so many different places that it basically keeps me out of one place for too long, and therefore, as far as the UK was concerned, kept me out of the tabloid, because I wasn't there for it. I'm not there for years on end, although I'm very much based in London.
Fans adore his music, but Mika has his fair share of critics. Now that he's achieved success with 2 hit albums, Live in Cartoon Motion and The Boy Who Knew Too Much, what would he say to his naysayers?
Nothing really. Because a lot of people ask me, because I had a hard time at school, and I was very much an outsider. So I think that people ask me, is this some version of vengeance? And I think no, because that would mean that I'm doing it all for them. And they're the last people I ever want to think about again in my life, and at least to the people that I grew up with at school. So as far as the record companies and stuff like that, I'm too busy building this my own little world for my music to exist in, from my shows and touring all the time, that I try not to think about all that stuff. I think there's 2 things that kill a career, at least creatively, and those are comparison and competition, and I think that revenge certainly breeds better.
Ever wondered what Mika would call himself if he were a superhero? Find out in the next clip.